Have you ever gotten super excited to start something new, like learning an instrument, a language, a new workout, only to have that motivation just vanish a few weeks later? Well, if that sounds familiar, it's not just you, and it's probably not your fault. Okay, let's get into it and uncover the psychological trap that keeps so many of us from finishing what we start.
We're going to kick things off with a feeling that I bet we all know a little too well. It's that sinking feeling, that little bit of guilt or frustration when you look at all the projects you've started and just haven't finished.
I mean, that's the big question, isn't it? We start with so much genuine energy and passion. We go out, we buy all the gear, we tell our friends about it. We're already picturing ourselves being amazing at it. So where does it all go wrong? Why do our best intentions just seem to fizzle out?
We all have these ghosts in the closet, right? That guitar sitting in the corner, maybe you learned, 3 chords and then nothing? Or that stack of books you swore you were going to read this year and now they're just props? And don't even get me started on the gym card that hasn't seen the light of day in months. These aren't just objects. They're like little monuments to ambitions we've abandoned.
Now listen up, because this is the most important takeaway. If this whole pattern sounds eerily familiar, it is not because you're lazy or undisciplined. It's because you've been falling for a very common, very predictable psychological trap. And the good news is, once you can see the trap, you can finally learn how to get around it.
So what is this trap? Well, it actually has a name. It's called the Novice High. And this one concept, this explains just about everything. The Novice High is that incredible, intoxicating feeling you get right at the beginning. It's this powerful mix of excitement and confidence. And why does it happen? Because in the beginning, your progress is super fast and super obvious. You go from knowing literally 0 guitar chords to knowing 3 of them in a single afternoon. That rapid feedback feels amazing, and it makes you think, hey, I'm going to be a rock star in no time. And this right here, this is why that high is so powerful. You're seeing that quick progress, right? That creates this awesome positive feedback loop. You learn something, you feel great, which makes you want to learn more. But this rocket ship feeling also fuels some seriously unrealistic expectations. We start thinking that mastery is just around the corner, and we totally ignore how hard the long road ahead is going to be. And of course, we can't help but tell everyone about our new hobby, because that early success just feels too good to keep to yourself.
But here's the catch. That amazing high, that feeling that progress is effortless, it's actually setting you up to fail, because it leads you straight into something called the inevitable plateau.
This quote just nails it. The problem is, the higher you fly on that novice high, the harder the crash is going to be. All that excitement you felt at the start becomes the standard you measure yourself against later. So when your progress naturally slows down, that contrast feels absolutely crushing.
Okay, look at this comparison, because this is everything. We expect learning to be a smooth, steady climb upwards, but the reality for pretty much any skill worth learning looks totally different. You get this huge, steep burst of progress at the start. That's your novice high. But it's almost always followed by a long, frustratingly flat period where it feels like you're not getting any better at all. And that, my friends, is the plateau.
And this is the exact moment where most people quit. When you're on the plateau, you're putting in just as much effort, maybe even more, but the visible results just disappear. That 4th guitar chord is suddenly 10 times harder to learn than the first 3 were. You're running the same distance, but it doesn't feel any easier. Your motivation completely tanks because that reward system you had, that feeling of quick progress, is suddenly gone.
Okay, so we've diagnosed the problem, we get the novice high, we get the crushing plateau, but knowing about the trap is only half the battle, right? Now let's talk about how to get out of it. Let's talk about the escape plan.
Here it is, your 4-step plan to beat the trap. First, and this is so crucial, you just have to acknowledge the plateau exists. Expect it. Know that it's a totally normal part of learning. That way, when progress slows down, you won't think, I'm failing. You'll think, okay, here it is, right on schedule. Second, focus on systems, not goals. A goal is, I want to learn Spanish. A system is, I'm going to use my language app for 15 minutes every morning with my coffee. See the difference? It's about the repeatable process, not the giant outcome. Third, schedule your practice. Motivation is fickle. It comes and goes. Your calendar is consistent. Treat your practice like an appointment you can't miss. And finally, number 4, and maybe the most important, redefine success. On the plateau, the win isn't some giant breakthrough. The win is simply showing up. You did the thing, that's the victory for the day.
And really, this is what it all boils down to. True mastery doesn't come from riding an endless wave of excitement. It comes from the grit and the resilience you build when you're grinding it out on that long, flat, difficult plateau.
Surviving that period of slow growth, that is the real win. That's where commitment is actually built. So think about that dusty guitar again, or that book, or that gym membership. The trap isn't a mystery anymore. You know its name, you know its tricks, and now you have a real plan to beat it. So the only question left is, what are you going to choose to push through and finally master?